Sarno approaches the abbey. You can see the walls, the gate. He begins to feel uncertain. There's something strange about this place, almost as if he's not sure what this abbey is actually like. Because sometimes, when you're solo role playing and you create an abbey, you accidentally create the same abbey twice. So you're not sure which one is actually real. And that is apparently what happened in my prep. I had created this abbey once, and then I apparently decided to create it again because I had them on different pages. I'm guessing that I looked at, I don't know. I don't know how this happened. But at the very least, we have two different abbeys. So I'm not sure which one it is. Right. So as he approaches, he sees up on right the sign, right, as he's entering. I'm going to assume that Sarno is literate. Um, it is either Abbey of the Blessed Land, right, fairly large abbey, an important abbey, or it's a much smaller abbey, the Abbey of the Sacred Heart. Let's find out. Is it the Abbey of the Blessed Land? Anything 11 or higher, the answer will be yes. The answer is yes, but not by much. All right, so it is the Abbey of the Blessed Land. Let me take out Abbey of the Sacred Heart. This abbey is no more. Now my notes all make sense. All right, so he goes into this relatively significant abbey. Uh, he can hear right the fountain as he goes through the gates. He can see people right, out working in the fields. Right? He can hear there's actually a blacksmith shop here. There are various monks, nuns, and the like um, moving about as well. Right. They are wearing one of the I guess particularities of this particular abbey is that they all their cowls are dyed red, right? And you can also tell looking around. This is a very old abbey. It's been around for quite a long time. Then let's find out the reaction here as he's approached. That's not terrible. 6 plus 1 is 7. The 7 is still not great. All right. Yeah, there it is. 7 suspicious. Okay. That's what I thought. It wasn't sure they're suspicious or hostile. Let's see. He's approached by a halfling, and the halfling just says to him, "Well, what brings you here?" And I believe that Sarno will introduce himself. I will um, say that he is here seeking out a hall of golden statues, right, which he has heard right, lies underneath the well in this abbey. Right, so I think this is something that is interesting, right? This is the abbot halfling. He introduces himself as Brother Harlow. Brother Harlow. Let me write down brother. Brother Harlow. There we are. He's Brother Harlow. I think that he's not immediately hostile to the idea of um, Sarno taking a look around, but at the same time, I don't think that he is particularly on board with what is happening here. So I think that maybe there might be something that um, something asked of Sarno in return. So that's the question. So I want to know what is it that they might ask Sarno to do. One thing to remember, though, Sarno has no money. And not literally the case, but he does only have 5 silver pieces. He has he's a fairly strong dwarf fighter. At the same time, though, he just doesn't have much stuff. Okay, so in any case, I think that that's what we need to work on is find out what would they like him to do for them, right? So I need to pull out my D100 here. So roll some percentile dice. We'll find out, right, what is it that they would like in return, right, for Sarno. be allowed, right, to do this, poking about as he's asking to rearrange some of this stuff. There you get a good view of my sleeve here. Oh, before I get much further, um, so it was my birthday recently. By the time this is posted, it'll be like 2 weeks ago or something like that. But one thing, when you get to a certain age, you start buying yourself birthday gifts. And my wife and my parents still buy me birthday gifts too, for that matter. But I also right buy myself a gift. And what I decided this year was that I wanted to get the Shadow Dark book. So I have ordered that. I have the PDF now. I might start incorporating that more, and also I will possibly integrate stuff from the book itself once it comes. It's supposed to come in about like 2 days from the time of this recording, so by the time you see it, it'll be here. So that's kind of exciting. Okay, all right. Other news: I also have started. I actually had a first session of running Shadow Dark, which was a lot of fun for some of my friends. So in any case, all right. So we've got 76 as the first word in my prompt. According to the solo dark thing, so it'd be drop, and 29. Drop discovery. Drop discovery. Drop of discovery. Drop to discovery. Drop for discovery. So I mean, to me, it sounds like no, they're actually perfectly fine, right, with him going because remember, this is supposed to be under the well, right? So I think like drop, obviously the most obvious literal interpretation of dropping is that it's dropping physically right downward, right? Discovery. I mean, so it sounds like actually Harlow is actually quite interested in the possibility that maybe there is this hall of golden statues underneath. Now, that's a good question though. Like, are the people of the Abbey aware, right, of this rumor? Because it might be something that they have already heard about. I mean, after all, they live here. So it seems reasonable that they might have some kind of records if such a thing is in fact around here. So that's a question that I'm going to pose to the Oracle. Right, so has Harlow heard this rumor before? Right, so I'm going to roll the d20 again. 11 and up is a yes. A 10 exactly would be a twist, but let's see. A 6. So actually, no. So, so no, in fact, this is something new, a new rumor. After all, this is an old abbey. It very well might be that, information gets lost, right? So it very well might be one that this may not be true, but that's extremely boring. Okay, so I came here, we look around. Nope, no Hall of Golden Statues. Oh well, end of story. No, there has to be a Hall of Golden Statues here somewhere. Now I'm thinking the most obvious thing, because it's supposed to be under the well, but I don't think there is a well here because there's a fountain instead. So I think most obviously it's not under the well anymore. I think the fountain was built on top of the well, so it has to get under the fountain somehow. Right, so that's a good question. So I want to know now, the most obvious thing to me is just to like, okay, so what am I imagining? Okay, imagining like the kind of fountain like you might find, say, in a plaza in Europe, so something like that. Right, so fairly ornate, right, statuary and that kind of thing, right? Right, so I don't know, angels, whatever, and water coming out of their mouths or something, right? So something along those lines is what I'm imagining, right? So then, for this all to make some degree of sense, it makes sense that that would be built, say, on top of where the well would be, right? I mean, the water source. I'm just, making stuff up here, right? That's what we do, basically. Right? So I'm thinking either, right, there's some way to move the fountain, right? But I don't think that's likely. There might possibly be some mechanism that could be used to move yeah, fountain, but I think it's more likely that we're gonna have to dig like under and around it. That seems like the most obvious thing to me, right? So I think that that's what we're gonna do, right? So Sarno says, "All right, is it okay with you if I go ahead and start digging?" I think Arlo has decided. So I mean, what is the deal though, right? Because I mean, I kind of took this prompt and just made it. Yeah, you can actually do the thing, but I think that's too easy. Right? I think it might be. I, th- I think it's obvious, right, that the Abbey is laying claim to whatever is down there, right? This might possibly pay a fee or something like that to, um, um, Yeah, just Sarno for doing the work, but I don't think that it's not like, oh yeah, go ahead and ransack whatever you happen to find down there. I don't think that's what's going to happen, right? So I think that maybe they say, yeah, we'll pay you fairly or something like that, and then I'll determine later what fairly looks like. Right? I think that might be a reasonable thing for us to do. Right. So he's going to be trying to dig right down there. Now, this digging process, and he's fairly strong. His constitution isn't great, but I think this is not something that's like things are necessarily going to go wrong, right? So I think that that's what he's going to try to do. He's going to try to dig around, and I think the question is, right? So this fountain, we don't know the details of how it works. So is it in fact built on top of the well? That seems likely to me. That feels like a reasonable way for them to have built this thing. But let's go ahead. I'm going to roll this just to see. I'm rolling it as likely, so we're going to take the higher of these two. Yeah, it's a 20. So yeah, this was definitely built on top of the well. And so after some time, it takes a while, I imagine, right? He does manage to dig around the fountain and get to where he's underneath it, and he does find the well where he can go down. One problem, he doesn't actually have any rope because he didn't have the money for it. Right? Ah, so what are we gonna do about that? That's an interesting question, isn't it? Well, I mean, he might be able to borrow some. That's kind of an obvious, simple way to solve that problem. But before I go the obvious, simple route, I do want to see if he could possibly. Does he have the money for rope? If that's all he's buying? Yeah, rope is only one. Oh no, rope is 1 gold. He doesn't have 1 gold. He just has silver. Can he get some iron spikes? No, he can't. He doesn't have the money for that either. He has shockingly little money. I mean, what? He's he's either gonna have to jump, just hope that his 7 HP are sufficient, right? Or he's going to have to borrow a rake. All right, yeah, let's say that happens, right? So he's going to borrow. No, he's going to rent. He's going to rent a rope. All right, there goes a silver piece right there. He's renting a rope from the abbey. Why not? It's funny. We'll go with it. All right, so he's renting a rope and he descends right down into the depths. So he finally made it down below. Now he is underneath the fountain. There's clearly like it's wet down here. Now I'm going to go ahead and make the assumption, as I said, that there is actually like something down here. So we're going to start. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of my way for the moment. Okay, I'm actually going to make the map here, like in my journal, and I'm going to use again the point dungeon point crawl generator. If I can find where that is, because I like the dungeon point crawl generator. Right, there we go. Right from Atelier Clandestine. There it is. I'm going to use that one, and I'm not necessarily going to get every detail, right? But we are going to generate. I think maybe I'll generate the room, deal with it, and then figure out what kind of passages there are from it. Right, so we come down to the bottom here. And I think number one is obviously just like the well. Now, I am curious how big this place is going to be. So let's go ahead and roll that. It's a d20, a 10. 10 says it's medium, so we're looking at 12. The medium, so it's 12 rooms, or points of interest, whatever. Okay, so we go into the first room, and this is just kind of the bottom of the well. I assume that it's wet. This makes sense, right? All right, so we're down here. Um, I think I probably need to light a torch because after all, it is dark at the bottom of the well. So I'm gonna go ahead and light a torch. And goodbye, torch. That gives me 10 turns of torchlight. Right. Torch timer, 10. Oh, all right. So the next thing I want to do. Now as I look down here, I'm curious. Right. So I'm wondering what kind of architecture we have. Right, so is this because we're underground, so it might actually make sense for this to be dwarven potentially. But let's see. Architecture number 11. 11 says that it's human. Right, so whoever built this, right, it was human built it. Any other aesthetic attached to it? 4 would indicate none. Right, so it's just a human aesthetic. It's very clearly constructed down here, as there are tunnels going off in some number of directions. What exactly? How many directions? Well, let's find out. 5 would indicate there are 3 directions in which we see tunnels headed. Now let's go ahead and roll those directions. We're going to pull out 3d8. So 4, 8, and 8. We'll re-roll one of those. 4, 6, and 8. There we go. So it's largely diagonal. So southeast, southwest, and northwest. So southeast, southwest, and northwest. Okay, so these are 2, 3, and 4. Okay. All right. Now that's what I can see. Now it might be that there are also some other hidden um, passages or something like that. So I'm not going to look for hidden passages. There are 3 very clear directions that I can go. It's not obvious to me which of these would be the best, right? So I think maybe, and it makes sense to me, let's just move. Okay. All right. So as I go down this path, right, from 1 to 2, because after all, 2 is the next number. I want to know this kind of path, right? Tell me about it. I know it's obviously not secret, but there are other possibilities. So let's go ahead and check. I have my D12 here. D12 says it's well, 12 would be secret. It's not secret. It's definitely not secret. Oh, come on! There we go. It's a 9. So as I head down this path, there is an obstacle that I meet. What is that obstacle? Let's find out from the D20. It's 13. There's a locked wooden door along here. All right, well, I know I'm not much of a thief, but I mean, okay, wait. So let's go. Okay, I'm heading down this. Okay, now I'm gonna have to let's check to see if I can actually unlock this door. I mean, it's a wooden door though, so I could just ram through it. I mean, that seems like a possibility. But I am going to try to unlock it first. Let's say it's a Dex difficulty 12. I don't have any, and my Dex modifier is a 0. Let's go ahead and try that. Yeah, that'd be a failure. So I'm going to go ahead and tick this down for my torch. And I don't have anything to lockpick with, right? So I guess I'm lockpicking with like my flint and steel or something. That's an important point. No, I need to ram the thing down. Okay, so so I spent some time, right? Sarno spent some time kind of fumbling through his backpack, looking for something to use to pick this lock. Um, he doesn't find anything, so he tries like sticking his like pinky finger in there to see if that works. It does not, in fact, work. It's a very ineffective way to try to pick this lock on this locked wooden door. On the other hand, he says, "Well, I'm pretty strong. I can just ram the door down. Let's just do that." Okay, so I'm going to try to flatten the door. Let's say there's a difficulty 15, so it's a little bit on the harder side, but he has a +2 on it. And that's a 12, so that's a failure. Right, so he runs up against the door, right? It does not collapse, so I'm down to 8 now. Let's try it again. That was a complete failure as well, right? And again, still not good. We're gonna run my time down. I'm gonna run out of torch light just because it's been worked down. 13 or higher is enough to pass it. A 1 would be definitely a failure there. So I'm gonna say that like this time he hits the door so hard that he drops his torch. Now, does the torch go out 1 through 3? The answer is yes. The answer is no, fortunately. So he's gonna try again. All right, and that's another fail. Oh goodness, this is terrible. And again, okay, there we go. That's a natural 20. That's what I need. And that's another luck token, which I don't know why I didn't use the luck token before. That could have saved me some time. But hey, we got there. I may have missed changing my timer on my light, but I think 4 is a sufficient penalty. So we finally make it through this thing. All right, and at that point, because you've been outrageously noisy, I think it's only fair that there should be a check for a random encounter. And the random encounter check comes back a no. A 1 would have been a random encounter. There is none as we get to room number 2. Okay, so we get down to room number 2. Tell me what is room number 2? Well, let's take a look. Um, so room number 2, it's obviously a room of some kind. What kind of content is there in this room? It is a 3. 3 indicates it's empty. So is there any treasure? 15% chance? The answer is no. It's 48. It's just an empty room. This mark here, it's empty. Now, that doesn't mean that there's nothing in it. There's probably something. Well, let's see what it says is in the empty room. 88. Oh, I just rolled my timer die. Ugh. Okay. We're still going to treat that as 88, though. 88. So according to my list here, there's a telescope. Well, underground is an interesting place to put a telescope. Okay, but that's really not something that's particularly valuable to me. So I think we're just going to leave it at that. So we're going to go looking for other exits to this room. Are there exits to this room apart from the one we came in? Well, I mean, are there exits to this room? Let's find out. A 1 indicates that there's one exit. Now, it's typically in addition to the one that we came through. So let's go ahead and roll that. 4 would be the direction of it. So it'd be a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's still heading to the southeast. This would be room number 5. All right. So let's keep going down that way. All right. So got we're going to go down here to room number 5. That's going to knock the timer down. Although let's check what type of passage is this. Oh, it's a D12. Not secret. We know that. 7. 7 indicates there's an obstacle again. So what's the obstacle this time? 9. It's a stuck door. Okay, this one, I'm just going to say it's a DC 12. To knock this thing down, I just need to roll 10 or higher. 14 does it. Excellent. Also, let me see. Oh, no, grit is in Dex. Okay, well, all right. That's that. All right. So managed to push that door down without a problem, but again, that's going to be noisy, and no random encounter from that. Okay. So we get to room number 5. What's in room number 5, Professor? I also would like to know. I'm glad you asked. All right, so let's go ahead and find out. 4. 4 indicates this is a special room. All the special rooms. Unfortunately, I think that I left. Yeah, I have to pull out the this side. Yep. Yeah, this is from the sandbox generator. Also from the same creator of this point Carl generator. But there's a section in that book entitled Dungeons, which I just printed out as a kind of a separate booklet. You've seen me do this before if you've watched my other videos in this series. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and roll the D100 here on the special room table. It's room number 49. And now these always have some kind of weirdness to it. So I'm just going to mark here the special 49. So as we come into this room, what do we see? It says, this room contains a magic forge. Weapons crafted here have a chance of being better than the regular weapon or even magic. To use it, in addition to the raw materials, a gem worth at least 500 gold must be used. Now, that's one thing. Um, I was reading more about Shadow Dark, and Shadow Dark it tries to go, I'm just going to say gold light as far as that goes. So any of the numbers that I pull out of here for gold, you typically divide by 10 to get Shadow Dark. So Shadow Dark, it would not be a 500 gold gem, it would be a 50 gold gem, which based on some of the other stuff that I have here, let me just grab one of these. Oh, where's that booklet? Okay, yeah, so here's the part of the quick start that I printed that'd be relevant here. Right, so so when it says 500, that actually means 50, which 50, what would that be something like? So here, for example, a gold monkey idol with a ruby gripped in its teeth would be 60 gold, according to the Shadow Dark book. Or a radiant polished pearl is worth 40 gold, so something in kind of that sort of range. Or a cracked emerald is worth 60. Two lustrous pearls are worth 40 each. So these are the types of things that would be in the price range that seems relevant here. All right. In any case, roll in the following table to determine if the forging is successful and what is special about the weapon. Dwarves have a +1 on their roll. Well, here's the problem. I don't have any gems. So it's really quite that simple. I don't have any gems. I don't have any raw materials. I can't possibly use this forge. It's nice to know that it's here, right? But I can't actually do anything with it. So that's that. It's fairly straightforward. And there's no reason to believe that there is, typically with these, if there is any kind of, well, after one successful use of the forge, it loses all magic powers. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Right, so there's this forge here. Uh, the dwarf inside of Sarno is happy to know that there's a forge here, but at the same time, he also knows that it's no use to him at the moment. Okay, so how many exits do we have? Four says that that's not four, that's a five. Ugh, goodness, Professor Englehart needs some sleep. All right, so there we go, Profi. And it is three. Okay, so we're going to look at three directions. So five, six, and eight. Now, if one of them happens to be the way we came, that's fine. And then one of them is the way we came, that's the eight. So let's set that aside. All right, so five, so one, three, five. Five, so going south, there's a room. Six, and then also to the southwest, there's a room. It's room number seven. Because I want to try to stay like kind of more centrally located, I'm gonna go down to room number seven. All right, so first thing, what type of link do we have here as we head down this path? I'm just gonna mark this down one. So we're down to two left here. We're gonna head down that path, path number seven. This, oh, that's the wrong die. It is a horizontal path, no barriers or anything like that. It's cool. So continue down here to door number seven, not door number seven, room number seven. What do we find in that room? Two. Two indicates an empty room again. Any treasure here? There is. There is some treasure here. I'll roll that in a minute. What else is in this room? 91. 91 indicates a torture easel. Well, alrighty then. Right, so 6, 7 is empty. Torture easel. Now I need to find out what kind of treasure is in this room, because I did find out there is some unguarded treasure. So unguarded treasure is rolled based on your character's level, so I'm just going to use that treasure 0 through 3 table, which I've been using before. All right. 61. Treasure number 61. A bundle of 5 red dragon scales. That's cool. And they're worth 5 GP each. So 5 red dragon scales. 5 GP each. I think that that's worth an XP. So I'm going to go ahead and take that XP now. Otherwise, I will forget. Because I know myself. That's how I know that. All right, so that was kind of nice. Okay. Next thing, let's go ahead. I'm gonna just continue down the path. Well, I guess we'll have to see whether there are any connections here. What have we got? Six. Yes, there are three connections. That's the wrong die. Okay, so eight, six, and five. All right, coming down here, we've got one, two, three, four, five. So there's room number eight. Six. Here's room number nine. Seven, eight. Here's room number 10. All right, so that's what we've got here. Now, I need to figure out which direction I want to go. Part of me really wants to go more central. I really kind of do. After all, this is actually on the screen, where the other two, they're too far south. They're not on the screen anymore. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to head up to room number 10. Okay, what kind of connection is it that is linking to that room? Number 5 tells us that it is a, I think, obstacle-free, just horizontal connection. Yes, it is. Right, so we get up to room number 10. I want to know what's in room number 10. So I'm going to write down my numbers here. 8, 9, 10. Room number 10, what kind of room is it? Number 1 indicates this is a trap room. Oh, that's good. That's good. So let's go ahead. It's not good. Okay, it's the trap room. What does it have in it? Well, it has some kind of trap. So the first thing I want to know is, can I find this trap? That'd be a wisdom roll. I'm going to say it's a normal wisdom roll, so it's a DC 12. Let's see what we've got here. I happen to roll a 19. Beautiful. So I did find the trap. What kind of trap is it? It is a crossbow that casts oh, by casting a spell is how it gets triggered, and it would do, okay, 2d8 in sleep. So I'm just going to mark here as a trap. So it's triggered by spell. So the question then, right, and good news is I don't have any spells, so I'm not going to be able to trigger it. That much is obvious. Okay. Right, so let's see what else we've got here. I think that I'm going. Oh yeah, there might possibly be treasure here. 25% chance. Let's check. No, there is no treasure here. All right. Next thing I need to do is, are there any connections? 5 would indicate, I believe there are 3 connections, if I recall correctly. I don't necessarily recall correctly, so I'm going to double check myself. Yes, 3 connections. So again, we're going to roll for directions of those. I got 1, 3, and 1. Let's re-roll one of those ones. So 1, 2, and 3. Right, so looking here, we've got 1 would be this direction. So this would be room number 11. 2 would be this direction. So there actually was a path this way we were unaware of before. And 3 would be this direction. So there's actually room number 12. It's going to go right here. And that is the end of the dungeon. Okay. So we got 12 rooms. And that's our 12th room. Okay. Kind of an interesting layout. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do, I want to check that. Now, am I metagaming a little bit here, perhaps? Yes. Am I disturbed by that? Not particularly. Not really bothering me right now. Because what it makes sense to do, and what is generally advised by the point crawl generator booklet, is you make that last room is a special room. And here, because we heard a rumor that there is a hall of golden statues in this particular space, it makes sense that would be where the hall of golden statues is. Now the question is, what else is in that hall? Now, sensibly, there's probably some kind of treasure there. Sensibly, there's something guarding that treasure. So that's the big question I want to face, right? Is what is it that is guarding that treasure? So, um, I guess that would be what we're going to be looking at, isn't it? Okay, so, okay, let me pull out my list. I think I have in here somewhere my list of different types of creatures and where they live and all of that kind of stuff. Although I might have put that somewhere else, to be perfectly honest. I might not actually have it here in my garage with me. Okay, oh, here we go. Oh, nice, nice. Okay. I did at least find a list here which has different types of creatures by level. Right. So I think it makes sense here that, like, I'm going to try to keep things balanced, and they say in a one-on-one fight, you want level to match. Right, so I want to find out what type of creature this is that is down here in this hall of golden statues, right? So the first thing though, let's check on the type of connection just to see. Nine indicates, I believe this is a horizontal connection, but there is some kind of obstacle in the way. Right, so let me double check that just to make sure. 9, yes, there's an obstacle. Let's find out what kind of obstacle it is. 2 indicates it's a stuck door. So again, I'm going to use my strength to knock the door down. Okay. Which means now, whatever was in this room heard me coming, is ready for me, and I think they are going to get first attack against me in whatever battle follows. So, Because, yeah, I want to end with a combat, because I don't get to do combat all. I feel like a combat today, so I'm doing a combat. It's that simple. All right, so here we go. And notice we are on the end of my torch. That's fine. It's fine. I'm just going to say this torch will get us through the end of the battle. That's fine. All right, so we come down the hallway. Right? And as we come down the hallway, we reach a room where this room, things open up. And sure enough, this is where the Hall of Golden Statues is. And a very clearly human build. It's not, doesn't have the dwarven level of quality and blockiness to it. It was built by human beings, and this was clearly built with some kind of significance to it. What exactly that significance is not clear right at this point in time. But as we come into this area, another thing we notice is that we are not alone. Instead, sure, we'll go with that. Um, we're not alone. They're also in the room, prepared for us, actually, is a bandit. How did the bandit get here? I don't know. I assume that there's another entrance somewhere that we missed. Must be. In any case, right, so we do have here a hard-bitten rogue in tattered leathers and hooded cloak. Uh, all right. So I think that that is where we are right now. Oh, I was looking for where my notes were, and they're here. So this is the Hall of Golden Statues. There we are. And there's also a bandit. So I'm just going to keep track of the bandit's hit points here. The bandit has 4 hit points. As we said, they get the first attack. And so I think it makes sense. They're just going to obviously be hostile. I'm not going to like try to negotiate with them or something like that because I want a battle. That's why I want a battle, and this is where I can get a battle, so I'm going to make that happen. So that's what we're doing. All right. So they attack me first. Their attack is rolled at a +1. They just have a club. Oh wait, or do they have a short bow? That's a good question. Do they have a club? That's a yes, they have a club. All right, so they're going to attack me with that club at a +1. Right. 9 plus 1 is 10. 10 is my AC, so that is good enough. So they are going to hit me with that club. That's a d4 worth of damage. I think the d4 is kind of hard to see here. Oh, that's not terrible though. All right, so 1, and I don't think they get extra damage with it. Nope, nope. So they did 1 damage, so I'm down to 6. All right, so then I in turn am going to attack them. All right, so let's see how this works. All right, I'm going to attack them with my great axes at a +1. I'm doing two-handed. A 5 is not enough, it turns out, to hit them. They have an AC of like 13 or something like that. Yeah, they have 13. They also have leather armor and a shield, which, hey, that's pretty nice. I'm gonna have to remember that. All right, so let's just say, as long as I win this one, yeah, there's gonna be a naked bandit body down here. Anyway, of all the things you say, right, there's gonna be a naked bandit body down here. Sure, why not? Back to them though. They're going to attack me, and they roll way better than I do. There may be a naked dwarf body down here instead. And so I'm down to 5 then. Okay. I should probably just use a die for that. There we go. 5 is my hit points right now. All right. Next, I'm going to attack them. And this is again, I'm swinging my axe. There's no reason not to do it two-handed. Since it's two-handed, I'm swinging my axe. And 8 plus 3 is an 11, but they have an AC of 13. Okay. So they're going to swing at me again. And they handily hit me. They have a 19. Okay, what much damage do they do this time? Okay, fortunately, they're not doing much damage at once, or I would be in serious trouble here. All right, so now let's go ahead and see if I can actually hit them. There it is. There it is. Okay, natural 20. All right. And that also means I get one more luck. I'm really filling up those luck tokens, which I need to remember that I have them because, I could re-roll something here. That might be nice. And anyway, the d20 with a natural 20, that means that I get double damage dice. So I get to roll two d10 instead of just one d10, and that is very nice. I'll go ahead and roll my timer die. Why not? And I just did a total of 17 points of damage. HP 4, yeah, that is well and truly dead. All right. So I killed this bandit. I'm absolutely going to strip them. Yes. It's not even a question about that. Right, so I'm going to claim they have leather armor. That leather armor is going to raise my AC to 11. So I'm just going to take that armor off of them, put it on me. Might be a little ill-fitting, perhaps, but not terrible. Right. They also have a shield, which I will take as well. All right, so I'm just going to do. I don't think I'll normally use the shield, but I'll make a note of it anyway. And then we also want to find out what else they have down here in terms of some kind of treasure. So let's go ahead and do that check. 93. 93 is going to be good. A magic wand with a second tier spell. Okay, well that's nice. Okay, and that's worth 100 GP. All right, cool. So then, with that being the case, I think it makes sense here in this encounter that I've gotten a reasonable amount of treasure. I'm going to take another experience point from that. So I'm up to 3 experience points now. And with my torch running out, I make my way back up and out of the well. I give my rope back to them. And then I think they get claim to anything that I found down there. So that's the question of how hard are they going to bargain? How persuasive can I be? So I think maybe that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a series of charisma checks. See what I can convince them to let me keep. I think that makes sense to me. Right, so what do I know here about Charlo? So what I've found out about him based on the stuff, but you wouldn't know any of this because I didn't tell you. Uh, okay. So what I know about Harlow, he's cheerful in his attitude. He likes clothes and sewing. His dream is to become an adventurer. Right? And apparently he may possibly have some questionable connections. There's a bandit down in the well. Maybe? Maybe some connection there. I don't know. All right. In any case, okay. So, the bandit is dead. Okay. So I'm going to go one by one through these as we negotiate. Right? And I think it makes sense just simple DC 12 for each item. So that's the thing. So first thing, these 5 red dragon scales. Do I want to keep them? I would. Yeah, I think I might want to. So let's just see. Right? Are they willing to let me keep them? There's a DC 12 and I get a +1 on it. No, 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 those are definitely part of something that they lay claim to. Okay. So they keep the scales. That's fine. Okay. I have this leather armor that I just put on. May I keep that one? 19. I may. Good. Good. I was actually going to use a luck token to reroll that if I didn't. Shield. Can I keep the shield? 12. I may keep the shield. Good. And how about this magic wand with a second tier spell on it? It seems unlikely they would let me do that, but hey, let's find out. Again, DC 12. Nope, nope, they're not going to let me keep that one. Well, that's okay. Now, they said they would pay me reasonably. So I don't know what exactly that means. So I know the stuff that I just handed over to them was worth a total of 125 gold pieces. So the question is, are they going to pay me like a total of 125 or not? I don't think that's reasonable. So let's see. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and roll my die. I also want to try to limit where it goes so that it's more likely to stay on camera. Okay. So I'm going to roll the die here. And real simple, I'm just going to be testing, are they going to be paying me at a discount or at a premium is really the question. Now, I have another D20 here. Okay, I like this one better. Okay, so question is, are they willing to pay me a premium for the stuff they just took from me? The answer is yes. 16 would be a yes. 11 and up, yes. So they're going to actually pay me a premium. That's nice. So I don't know how big that premium is. Right. So they're going to pay me at least 125 gold, which is kind of nice. Right. So I'm thinking maybe it doesn't make sense they pay me much more than, say, well, what is the absolute maximum that I think they would pay me for the 125 gold worth of stuff? I don't think that they would double it. I think that'd be really strange. So I'm not going to like roll a percentile die and say that I get that much extra or something like that. But maybe what I'll do is roll 2d20, and that total is the extra gold that they're going to give me. That makes sense because then it's going to be somewhere between 2 and 40, which 40 is not quite is like a third of the value. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So let's do that. I'm just going to roll 2d20. That's how much extra gold they give me. Yeah, that's an extra 11 pieces of gold. So it's 136 gold. Beautiful. All right. Well, this is a very nice place for me right now. I think that this also has been kind of a long session, so it makes sense for me to try to end this right around here. One thing that I want to do, though, um, because what we know about this space, right, is I believe that I established that they do have a smith here, right? So it might be kind of nice, based on that knowledge, if this is true, and I believe it is true. I'm double checking myself because I don't trust myself with these kinds of things. Because I sometimes will create an abbey that I've already created. Okay, here we go. There is a smith here? Okay, good, good. So I think it would be kind of cool, if possible, for me to get clunkier armor than I currently have. I mean, I mean, better armor than I currently have. Okay, and I have the money now, right? It's likely. So just looking it up here, armor, chainmail, right? Gives you 13 plus your dex mod. Disadvantage on stealth and swimming, but he's not particularly dexterous anyway. So I think it might make sense for him to sell his armor, his leather armor that he got, replace it, chainmail, and that's going to net 50 away from him. So he's got 86 left there. Now, there would also be the possibility of getting full plate mail. That would cost me an extra 70 beyond that, which he has the money for. Plate mail does take up a whole bunch of space, but man, that 15 AC is pretty good. He's not allowed to swim anymore, but he's not a big swimmer anyway. Um, so that's something worth thinking about, Lucas. Profi, rather, whatever. Hmm. Oh, it's +2 from the shield, not +1. Huh. Because a 15 dex mod would be pretty, not 15 dex mod, a 15 AC would be pretty nice. But is it worth it at this point? Remember, he also has very little stuff. Like, he doesn't own rope. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind, too. All right, so I think maybe that's what I'm going to do. So he's going to have the chainmail. So his AC is now up to 13. So it's well above where it started this session at 10. Right? Okay, not bad, not bad. Now we're up to 13, right? Plus 2 if he decides he wants to use the shield rather than just swing his great axe with two hands. I think he's also going to buy some other stuff while we're here. Right, so let's go ahead and buy, if we would. Um, the big thing is the rope. So I think a grappling hook and rope. So grappling hook and 60 feet of rope would fit. And that's 2 more gold. So that's 84 gold. Cool. All right, now I think maybe what I'm going to do at some point. So he has to come up with one, what's a new rumor that he could be pursuing. He found this Hall of Golden Statues. He got some stuff from it. Interestingly, he just kind of left the golden statues there. But I think it makes sense here that now that the Abbey is aware of this, right, that they might possibly rearrange things down here. We also know there's a magical forge here, which that is interesting in itself. All right. In any case, I think that's a good place to end this. What Sarno's going to do next time? Who knows? Find out. He's looking for a new rumor. So that's what's coming up next time on Profi Plays Shadow Dark. Thanks for watching.